Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. And today, I thought we'd do something different. I thought we'd do something fun, and probably that will cause some pain, that will cause some trouble. Definitely will cause some issues between people, I'm not gonna lie. We gonna talk about combined starting 11 between Arsenal and Real Madrid. Obviously, there are many questions to be asked on how many Arsenal players are gonna get in there, because the way I see it, it's not gonna be a lot, because let's be real, Real Madrid have actually proper players and Arsenal have, well, stuff. Let's just put it that way. But we're gonna talk about all that. We're gonna talk about a bit of Champions League, how we might look at it. Of course, tomorrow's Monday. Then we're gonna have one day left again before the Champions League game against Real Madrid. And of course, if there is enough time left, we're gonna do some transfer news. So smash the thumbs up, smash the like button, caress it, destroy it, all that good stuff. Subscribe if you're new around here, and of course, leave your thoughts down in the live chat below. So. Big up Nathan. Big up. Whoa, this is going well. Big up Nathan. He already is saying that only Saliba and Timber get in. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna see how many get in. Then there's also Marlon is here. Big up to Marlon. Big up to you. Brennan Johnson has more goals than our whole team. That's going well, isn't it? Big up, coach. Yes, I'm good. Hope you're doing great today. And big up Kwame as well. Liverpool lost today away to Fulham. Yes, 3-2. They lost. Iwobi with a goal and assist and everything. But they have already the title. They have. Arsenal have no chance in getting it, so it makes no point whatsoever, because there would be maybe some sort of a hope, some sort of a chance if, for example, Arsenal would have won against Everton. If that dependent decision would have gone maybe a different way, maybe it didn't get reds if we scored the chances we have and we used the chances we have during other games where we have lost points. Would have been obviously a much different story. But it just happens that usually when Arsenal drop points, Liverpool drop points as well. And obviously that is always gonna be a bad thing. So yeah, ultimately it means nothing in terms of title race, because in terms of Premier League table, it means pretty much nothing, if you ask me. It generally means pretty much nothing, especially given the fact that it's still 11 points. It's not 1, it's not 4, it's not 6, it's not 3, it is still 11 points. And yeah, it kind of, want to say it's kind of a moot point, it kind of means nothing, but hey, it is what it is. So not too happy that Arsenal drop points when Liverpool also drop points, but hey, for me, title race is over. There are 31 games played, 7 games to go. That means we must win all 7, and Liverpool need to lose half of the games we have left, and Arsenal need to win every single one to have a chance, basically, to even get there. So, yeah, it's nothing. It generally means nothing. But since Liverpool pretty much already have a title, there's nothing more left to say. The closer it ages, the more games we play, the more games we drop points, and Liverpool doesn't matter what they do, because ultimately it's not on Arsenal alone, it's also on Liverpool, and we can control only our own actions in that regard. And yeah, regarding Arsenal, it's not looking too good, it's not looking too great. So hey, we must take it under the chin and I guess focus on the only thing that we have left in this season, and that is Champions League. Although in Champions League also, the chances of us progressing through are not the greatest. Although Real Madrid, obviously, in La Liga specifically, are not in the greatest of forms, and in Copa del Rey as well. Obviously, they still went through against Real Sociedad, and they're going to face Barcelona in Copa del Rey final, but still, they conceded 4 against Sociedad, they conceded 2 against Valencia, they lost to Valencia at Bernabeu, they also conceded 2 against Leganes. They have very rough season in terms of performances, but ultimately they are only 4 points behind Barcelona at the end of the day. They are also second, but only 4 points behind Barcelona, so it is what it is. So we'll see how this goes. Real Madrid in Champions League, completely different animal. So what I thought, why not? Why not go for it today? Arsenal and Real Madrid combined 11. And we obviously, as I said, going to discuss Champions League and some other bits and bobs here or there. Gyökeres coming to us in the summer is on. It looks that way. It looks that way for sure. At least for now. According to reports and according to rumors, it definitely looks that way. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see how it goes, because until he holds the shirt up, I'm not gonna be over the moon. Obviously, I'm kind of getting a bit excited given the fact that we might actually get Gyökeres. It's not gonna be like Sesko or Marwan Shamah or Benika Fobe or someone like that. We actually might get the proper striker, especially since Aubameyang left 3.5 years ago. So it definitely is a bit of an exciting time. But until he actually signs, I'm not gonna get too giddy over it. So time only will tell. Have to hold my reservations still until it happens. So we'll see. Brennan Mungizi has more goals than 9. Yeah, that is the case. That is the case. Isn't our top goal scorer in Premier League Kai Havertz with 9 goals still? That is kind of nuts. Kai Havertz with 9 goals, top scorer for Arsenal in Premier League. Bukayo Saka was out for 3.5 months and he still is the assist leader in the team. So that just shows how poor we are. Let's just put it that way. How poor we are. Yeah, and it is an absolute disgrace. 100%. 100%. My starting 11 against Arsenal. Against Real Madrid, sorry. Raya, Timba, Saliba, White, Miles Lewis, Skelly, Partey, Marino, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. So, what you're saying, Declan Rice is holding the bench. Merino is being played as a number 8. And Trossard plays up top. That's what you think is gonna happen in the first quarterfinal game at Emirates in 2 days, basically, against Real Madrid. Interesting. We're gonna look at that much more tomorrow, because tomorrow obviously it's gonna be the preview show and everything. But one thing I must say, these streams will be a bit different, because for some weird goddamn reason, my OBS doesn't recognize window capture anymore. Genuinely doesn't recognize. When I want to capture a screen, it just black screens and I cannot fix it. So you have to bear with me here today. It's not gonna be like a starting 11 you can see in front of your eyes. We're gonna go picture by picture like a slideshow, basically. So it's gonna be a bit different, and also for future streams until I actually manage to sort it out. So very sorry about that. Yeah, Nathan dropped, Kwame dropped Rice, which is very interesting as well. That was kind of nuts. Marlon likes the lineup, but yeah, no Rice, that is a weird one. I don't mind you disagree with me. No, for me it's just weird that you dropped Rice. That is the only thing, because for me, the way I see it, Rice in that 8, whether you like it or not, is better than Merino, at least. The way I see it, the way I look at things. And Merino has had better performances as a striker than number 8 for Arsenal, so that is an interesting one. Yeah, but definitely, I cannot disagree with that. Rice hasn't been performing 100%. He's been a bit, let's just say, off the box. Trossard was effective as a number 9, we can't play Merino up top against Madrid. They're the kings of UCL. We can't do this phase again. Well, it might come down to that, can it? I kind of can see Mikel Arteta for the game going actually Merino as a number 9, Rice is in the midfield, and even starting Bukayo Saka. So obviously time only will tell, but it definitely is a possibility. Let's just put it that way. Come on, would you play Ranieri or Odegaard? I don't think he is gonna do that, because if we as much as we want Ranieri, for example, to come off the to start, right? We have nobody to come off the bench then, at least with Ranieri off the bench, even though he's only 17 and everything. At least we have some sort of a potential, some sort of a chance that we have someone who can change the game to some extent, who can do something unorthodox, since he's very direct and likes to attack. Because if we start Ranieri, we legit have 0 substitutions off the bench to impact the game. And then again, that is something you don't want in these big games as well. Odegaard might blast away an open goal and cost us the goal, man. Could be the case. It actually might come down to that. So that is the thing. So Jimmy Gower got called up to... Basically, yeah, I think he's just there to be a squad filler. I'll just put it that way. He's plays for under 18s. He's about 16, 17, also years old, so... kind of means nothing. I don't think he's gonna get game time whatsoever. He might train with the main squad for the future integration into the team, but currently, definitely he's not getting it. Let's just put it that way. On the other hand, Max Daumann is making a very strong case for actually getting into the main squad somehow. He scored a hat trick yesterday against Leicester. Yeah, against Leicester under 21s or under 18s or whatever he was playing. He scored a hat trick. That is kind of nuts. Trossard can be an impact sub. Merino has to play up top for our press and to occupy Rudiger. That is the thing. Against Rudiger, you need someone to be very, very physical and straightforward. So Merino might be that. And as Merino, as stiff as he looks on the ball and everything, he's not a striker. So he actually might do something strikers don't often do, like do certain unexpected movements, unexpected touches and stuff like that, which defenders tend to come accustomed to expecting from attackers in general. So it kind of actually could be a blessing in disguise. I know I'm clinching at straws by saying this and everything, but it might come down to that. Who knows? It actually might come down to that for sure. Trossard can be an impact sub, but we all know that Trossard is basically hit and miss quite a bit in recent times. Michael Rosiak is better than Odegaard. No, well, it is what it is. Yeah, no one in our team cannot take free kicks. That is one of the biggest things. None of our players can take free kicks. They can try and rip in a cross, but to take a direct free kick, none of our players can do that. Isn't it like the last time we scored a direct free kick was about like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something weird like that? Like, it's actually kind of nuts, let's just put it that way. It is actually kind of insane to think that for us as such a big club and everything, we don't have a designated free kick taker. Like, genuinely, we don't have one. We just go with the flow and we pray for the best, let's just put it that way. That is actually kind of inexcusable to some extent. Real are so bad playing out of form, out from the back. We have to... Yeah, we need to press. I think at home especially, we need to start on the front foot and press the hell out of them. Like we did against Man City. And it resulted in a quick goal and everything. It kind of set the tempo for the game. Hopefully we can kind of try and replicate that, and it kind of works in our favor. Otherwise, yeah, it is what it is. But obviously as well, Real Madrid in Champions League, completely different team compared to Real Madrid in the league. So we cannot take also that for granted. Let's just put it that way. He plays like Therion, dude. It is what it is. We cannot get too hyped about the youngsters as well. We need to see them in the main squad. Everyone says Miles Lewis Kelly is insane. He's the next big player. He plays like this and like that. He has played barely half a season. Give him time. See what he does. It's also selling into the hype of certain young players also is never the best things to do. Let's just put it that way. Need to keep level and open mind to see what they kind of do long term. Yeah, Courtois is back in training. It looks like he will play. Looking about the things and everything, it looks like he most likely is gonna play because Lunin is out, apparently 100%. That youngster, they gonna either have to play Courtois or they will have to play the youngster who forgot his name, the under 18s, under 16s or whatever. He's 16 or 17 years old if I'm not mistaken. If it comes to that, they actually might need to play him. So obviously time only will tell. But for now, yeah, it looks like Courtois is gonna be in goal. He's back, he's slowly training, but whether will he play or not obviously remains to be seen. But the latest reports suggest that he will be ready. Wasn't Lunin on the bench? I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. Wait. Yesterday, right? Yeah, Real Madrid played yesterday against Valencia. Wait, let me check. Real Madrid, Valencia. They had Fran in goal, the youngster, and no, Lunin wasn't on the bench. Oh no, he was on the bench, never mind, Lunin was on the bench. But apparently Lunin is out for the game, I don't know why. Apparently Lunin is out. Apparently. Mendy is out with a hamstring, Militao with a knee, Ceballos with a muscle, and Carvajal with a knee. Well, those are the ACLs and all that stuff. So, very, very interesting, very interesting. Real Madrid facing Ukraine. Yeah, Lunin is also injured. Yeah, Lunin is injured. Also recently suffering a backup goalkeeper on the Lunin. Yeah, he is injured as well. According to reports. Whether it's true or not obviously remains to be seen, and time only will tell, but it looks like he is injured and he's not gonna play. Instead of Mendy, if the rumors are true, wants to join Real Madrid, who should... that is the big question. That is the big question. Will he? And who it will be? Like, if Zubimendi goes to Real Madrid as much as he wants, I don't know who we gonna go for the number 6 spot. Like the biggest thing is, or do we put the Rice in the 6 and put in the midfield and sign a number 8 like a proper one? That is also the big thing. Ceballos was out. Ceballos was training yesterday. What? Danny Ceballos is back. Yeah, according to Real Madrid and everything, he is back. But at the same time, according to Football de España, he is out. He's not gonna play. Like Ancelotti previously hinted at Ferland Mendy and Danny Ceballos being ready to come back for the first leg, but now that is unlikely, according to Spanish reports. Ceballos is doing light training and is closing in on a return. He is closing. However, the outlet claims that his return for Tuesday match at Emirates seems rushed and very unlikely. And in the principle, he's been ruled out as of now, obviously. He might be back, but it looks like he won't. But I would expect him being definitely back for the second leg. If that is the case, if he's closing, slowly getting back. Instead of Zubimendi, who... For me, that is the biggest question. That is the biggest question. This is the list, Marlon is saying. Agume, Baleba, Thuram, Barella, and Reinders. That is the list. That is under your Zubimendi question, Kwame. This is the list. And I'm not too sure personally, because we could buy an 8, a 6, but 6s are very hard to find these days. And for me, the question is why we are not trying to use, for example, Rice in the 6 and we don't actually buy a number 8 to complement Rice, for example. That also could work, but obviously Arteta wants what he wants. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if there will be any fruit to that, but hey, I guess it is what it is. Anyhow, I think it's time we're gonna turn to Real Madrid and Arsenal combined 11. And this could be very controversial, or actually not controversial at all. Let's just put it that way. So we're gonna start from goalkeeper, work our way up, and discuss every single player basically. And we're gonna go from there. So let's start this with the goalkeeping department in all of this, and we're kicking things off with Thibaut Courtois. Thibaut Courtois, the goalkeeper for the combined 11. So obviously, for me, it's between Courtois and Raya, and I must say there's pretty much hands down no chance that Raya is better than Thibaut Courtois. Courtois is much better shot stopper, very good at penalties as well. Tall, so you cannot chip him like you can do with David Raya, obviously. Decent with his feet on the ball as well. Obviously, for his height, he's actually very decent for that. I'm not gonna lie. And the way he has carried Real Madrid, remember that final against Liverpool where he made insane saves, where he turns into, I don't know, God mode with like 50 arms and everything. It is actually kind of nuts, let's just put it that way. And as well, last year in Champions League, Lunin carried almost the whole Champions League Real Madrid until the final, where Ancelotti made an executive decision when Courtois has just come back from injury to put him in the goal, and it paid off. Let's be real, it paid off big time, and yeah, that was the smart move in that regard. So yeah, for me, Courtois, if I have to choose between David Raya for goalkeeping department, it's 100% Thibaut Courtois. I don't think anyone would disagree with this, David Raya this, David Raya that, but if there is any common sense, let's just put it that way, I'm going with Thibaut Courtois. Now, right back position. So we have the decisions here between White, Timber, and Dani Carvajal. Now, you may not agree with me on this, but I am choosing Dani Carvajal. For me, it's Dani Carvajal without a shadow of a doubt to put at the right back 100%. Because I'm not just talking about merits here, but Dani Carvajal is one of those that pretty much is solid 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 every single time. That is the case. Let's be real, that is the case. So overall, I must say I'm gonna put Dani Carvajal because defensively, attacking wise, he is very very good. Obviously, since Real Madrid don't do this inverted crap, it's also much better, much more pleasing on the eye. So it is what it is in that regard. So for me, Dani Carvajal. I don't think Ben White stands close to Carvajal. Timber stands closer, but Timber is gonna come up later in this stream. Let's just put it that way. But Dani Carvajal, serial winner, always clutch, always solid and reliable for national team and Real Madrid. So ultimately, it has to be Dani Carvajal. Even if we do fit players, it's Valverde. I'm not gonna lie, but we're gonna get to that. For me, moving on. Obviously, let's move on a bit. Let's move on. Let's go to right center back. Right center back for me is, well, it's not ideally centered, which is kind of doing my head in, I'm not gonna lie, but it is Antonio Rudiger. Like, I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Militao is not it for me. Alaba is all and also not it for me. So ultimately, it was between him, Gabriel, and Saliba. So ultimately, for me, it's Antonio Rudiger as well. One of those guys who seems like a madman, can wind up everyone up, but again, he has those performances where you just can't do anything against it. He just is inevitable in defense to some extent as well. Vasquez at the right back won't be mad to do that. Like, Vasquez at right back, if Real Madrid do that, it's actually kind of nuts. Like, he might start Valverde at right back. Like, let's be real, he might. You don't know, and obviously I don't know, but if it came down to me, I would start Valverde as a right back. Like, personally. Because if you can start maybe Vasquez at the right back at home, away, I'm not too sure. He won't bench his captain. Real Madrid, this shit doesn't fly, by the way. He will bench him if that comes to that. Let's just put it that way. Real Madrid it will fly. And with Real Madrid, it's a bit different. Let's just put it that way. And in my opinion, he will start Modric and he will start Valverde as a right back, and the Modric will be captain until Vasquez maybe comes on. In my opinion, Vasquez at right back is genuinely a suicide mission for Real Madrid against Martinelli as well. So definitely, I don't think it's gonna be that. And even if he does to some extent, I kind of don't believe that it will be much of a difference in that regard. Rudiger will aim at Saka's hamstring, that bastard. No. Yeah, definitely. They will have dirty tricks up their sleeve. 100% Real Madrid will do. If you want to talk about the dark cards, 100% they are one of those that know dark cards to the finest. Let's just put it that way. To the maximum extent, they are the masters of those. But yeah, for right center back, it is Antonio Rudiger. For the left center back, which is a picture we might see very very soon, it's William Saliba. For the right center back, for the left center back, just like for France, when he tends to play, it is William Saliba. So a center back pairing of Rudiger and Saliba. Now, this is the painful part because I can see that in the near future, Saliba is partnered with Rudiger at center back, and afterwards with Asensio at some point. So for the left center back, I'm going with Saliba. I don't think with Militao, he's not consistent enough. Alaba as well, just not it anymore, even on form. And it was between Gabriel and Saliba for the left center back role. Obviously, positionally, it would dictate that it should be Gabriel, but Rudiger is that Gabriel type of player who is the madman, doesn't mind, who is generally getting into players. So next to him, you need someone who is much more level-minded, and I think Saliba in that regard is clear of that. So I'm putting Saliba as the left-sided center back. Big up Mabaz, big up. Anyways, moving on to left back, and this is the place where I had lots and lots of discussions with myself. In my mind, I thought about everything I have seen from Real Madrid over the last 2 seasons. I have seen from Arsenal in the last 2 seasons specifically and everything. And I genuinely was sitting here. Who I am putting as a left back? Who? Genuinely who? Because I'm going with 4-3-3 formation. And at the end of the day, I came up with this. As much as at the moment I don't think Fran Garcia is it for Real Madrid. Mendy is injured, but that doesn't play a role too much in this. It's more like Ferland Mendy is somewhat decent, maybe defensively, but going forwards, he's by a bit of a liability. So, and don't kill me for this. I beg, don't ruin me for this in the comments and in the chat. But for left back, I am going with Jurien Timber. He is my left back choice. Jurien Timber is my left back choice. I'm just gonna put it that way. Nah, I cannot put Gabriel and Saliba. For me, it's Rudiger and Saliba, unfortunately. So yeah, left back for Gabriel. For Timber. Like, the left back options for Arsenal pretty much are non-existent. Calafiori is not it. Miles Lewis Kelly, God knows, we don't know what's gonna happen with him. Who else? There's Zinchenko. No, thank you. I would put Tierney there to some extent if he would play. The thing is, he doesn't play, so that is for me the biggest issue. That is the biggest issue. So for me as a left back in this combined 11 between Arsenal and Real Madrid, I am putting Jurien Timber. So that is that. I think it makes a lot of sense because Timber is solid going forwards, going backwards. We have seen him do a very good job at left back as well. I know he's not left back, is not his main role, but the pickings at left back for Real Madrid and Arsenal, but overall, are quite slim. Because Miles Lewis Kelly is still too young to decide. Calafiori, go figure. Zinchenko is not it. Tierney doesn't play. Fran Garcia doesn't convince me. Mendy is very decent to go at back, but going forward, just not it. So, yeah, for me, it is obviously Jurien Timber. Yeah, over Fran Garcia, yeah. I'm putting him over Fran Garcia. I know, like, that was for me the discussion, basically. Between both Real Madrid left backs and Jurien Timber. Those were my options. And for me, I would put Jurien Timber there. Genuinely would put Jurien Timber there just because it works. Let's just put it that way. So, anyways, moving on. Moving on. We are moving on to midfield. And first midfielder we're going to talk about, obviously, is Luka Modric. For me, in the combined 11, it has to be Luka Modric. It just has to be Luka Modric. By the way, for the left back role, while I'm at it, right? I could have put Camavinga there as well, by the way, because he plays quite a lot there for Real Madrid when it's necessary. But overall, he's a midfielder. Just going to put it that way. He's a midfielder, so ironically enough, he's not even in this stream. He was one of those closest honorable mentions in the midfield. He was the fourth option. But yeah, for now, we are sticking with Modric. Modric is one of the three midfielders I'm putting in the midfield because he's the ultimate captain material. He's the ultimate midfielder. Going forwards, coming backwards, distribution, play from the deep end, from the front. He's still at his 30, like it feels like 40, still can do everything that 90% of Premier League midfielders cannot do. Let's just put it that way. Right? So, for me, Luka Modric seemed like one of the most realistic options. Moving on from Luka Modric, that was the big question mark for me. Do I put in Camavinga or do I put in this guy? And at the end of the day, I kind of chose to put Fede Valverde in. It was a very tough choice for me personally between Fede Valverde and Camavinga because Camavinga, in my opinion, deserved to be in this 11, but I just couldn't find a way to squeeze him in. I could have put him for the left back spot, right? But again, it's a coin toss for me in that regard. So I wanted to put him in the midfield, but ultimately for me, Valverde goes into the midfield because Valverde is some phenomenal player. Valverde genuinely can play pretty much every single position you can imagine on the pitch. He can play midfield, he can play right back, he can play right mid, he can play right wing. The amount of goals he has scored and assisted, playing as a winger, as a right back, as a midfielder, like, he's insane. He can do everything. Feels like his engine doesn't stop. And yeah, it was him, or it was basically Camavinga. So Camavinga can come off the bench basically, if it comes down to that. Valverde for me is a bit of more of a butcher in the midfield. Then comes Modric next to him, who is more of a distributor, box to box type of player for me personally. And then we move into the third midfielder, right? Since we are going with 4-3-3. And it is, and this will look very weird, but it is Jude Bellingham. Like, kinda, I cannot not put him in. As much as Jude stinks out the place quite a bit, and Real Madrid fans get on his case when I look at him play, he many times he's just hella questionable. To some extent, he is clutch. He comes up with very clutch goals for the team, and he gets them over the line. In that 10 spot, he actually looks very decent from the deep 8 to into the 10. But yeah, he's not having a great season by any means, let's be real, but overall, the way he plays, the way he actually performs many times, he actually can get it over the line. And he has proven that he can get it over the line, and he has. And that for me kind of deserves the spot, because in that 10 role, what do we have? It's Odegaard. And if I have to choose between Odegaard and Bellingham, it's pretty much obvious it is Bellingham. Right? If I have to put Brahim Diaz or Arda Güler, they overtake Odegaard with ease, in my opinion, but doesn't overtake Jude Bellingham. That for me is the biggest thing. Midfield is such a confined space where there's very limited options in terms of quantity, how many you can put in. And that for me basically, that always will be the biggest question mark, because I have put in certain players which obviously many people don't agree with. And that ultimately at the end of the day will come down to the fact that they will want to put somebody else. Like Mabas wanted to put Fran Garcia at left back, I put Simba. I see Kwame wants to put Partey instead of Modric, which for me seems kind of nuts, but hey, it is what it is. Everyone has their own preferences, let's just put it that way. For me, prime Modric at Real Madrid and everything compared to Thomas Partey, just no thank you. Modric is the one and the only real option in that regard. But yeah, for me, Jude Bellingham goes into that 10 role, so it is what it is. Moving on to the attack, I don't think anyone will be surprised for left wing choice. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think anyone will be surprised with the left wing choice. Left wing, Luka Modric, freaking hell, my brain. Vinicius Jr. Well, says it all, doesn't it? Because if you look at Arsenal's left wing, we might as well not look at it. It's like an empty space compared to what they have at the left wing. Genuinely nothing we have. And they have Vinicius. And to be honest, looking how Vinicius plays, yes, he has missed a few penalties recently, I'm not gonna lie, but still he manages to score and get the team over the line in most important times. He was having a very poor game against Real Sociedad, for example, right? In the Copa del Rey semifinals. Real Sociedad were looking like they're gonna get the best of Real Madrid. But there was a point where Vini flipped a switch. Like, genuinely, it felt like he has flipped a switch, put it in the 6th gear, turned on the nitrous, and then absolutely annihilated everyone. He was like, not on my watch. At Bernabeu, definitely not on my watch. And the rest is history. They got into the final. He actually, like, there's nothing you can say to convince me that any of Arsenal's left wingers should be in the starting 11. I just put it that way. Nothing you can say. So for me, I think everyone will agree that it's Vinicius Jr. Moving on to striker. I wanted to do right wing, but we're gonna get to that in a second. Striker. Like, Arsenal have no striking options. No strikers, no nothing. Havertz, Merino, Trossard, hehe, lol. Like, seriously, Mbappe gets there with his eyes closed. Let's be real. Kylian Mbappe for striker without 100% shadow of a doubt he gets into the team. he gets the job done. And I think he gets pretty much in every single teams in the world striker position, maybe besides City because they have Haaland, and maybe besides Bayern Munich because they have Kane, and Barcelona because they have Lewandowski, right? Besides that, every single team would take him. I think even those teams would take him if they had the chance. Let's be real. But ultimately, yeah, Arsenal's attacking options are very very bleak, and it also was a non-contest. Like, let's be real, it's Mbappe and that's it. Like, there's no questions. Yes, he had a very very rough start at Real Madrid. I'm not gonna lie. There were times that he wasn't scoring for countless games and everything. But ultimately, he has found his place. He has found his niche. Let's just put it that way. He has picked up some pace in recent times. He's scoring some goals. So, kind of has picked up some form before Arsenal game, which is kind of a worry, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, it is what it is. So, we have to wait and look and see how that develops. Yeah. You say this now. When he scores against Arsenal a hat-trick, then you probably won't say that thing. Let's be real. Like, come on. So, it is what it is. But now, if we move to right wing, this is the big thing. For me, the right wing spot, this was very tough for me, personally. I'm not gonna lie, because on one hand, I have Bukayo Saka, right? On the other hand, I have Rodrigo. And that, for me, is the biggest question of everything. Rodrigo or Saka. Mbappe must be stopped, sorry. Or else, oh yeah, 100%. Especially if Arteta decides to play Kivior as a center back. Kivior versus Mbappe, I'm already having nightmares about that, let's be real. If that is the case, that is gonna be a rough one, I'm not gonna lie. Rodrigo hasn't been himself this season. He is a bit off, I'm not gonna lie. Last season he was carrying the team. This season, to some extent, this season he is a bit off. Let me check what he has done this season, because I actually don't know. 27 games, 6 goals, 5 assists. In Champions League, 10 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. So, not the best of performances, let's just put it that way. Not the best of performances this season, per se. So, this season, definitely, he has not been himself. It kind of also shows that how the attack is going for Real Madrid, that they're struggling. Even though they managed to score, they managed to get results to some extent. If Rodrigo was in a proper form, let's just put it that way, they actually would be arguably on top of the table. I'm just gonna say it that way. Arguably, he would be. Although no season he has had actually quite exceptional numbers, if you ask me, because Rodrigo on average gets about 15-16 GA. He has been in La Liga for 6 seasons. 6 seasons. So, first season, 2 goals. Second season, goal and 6 assists. So, that's 7 points. Next season, 4 goals, 4 assists. That's 8 points. 2 seasons ago, 9 goals, 8 assists. So, 17 points. Last season, 10 goals, 5 assists. So, 15 points. This season, so far, 6 goals, 5 assists. So, on average, he averages about 15 points a season. To think that Real Madrid bought him for only 40 million, that is the biggest travesty here. Although the injuries and rests and everything have a big part to play, like this season he has had a hamstring injury for 2 weeks, the small hamstring, grade 1. So he missed only 2 games. He had a muscle injury, missed 3 games. But since basically December, he hasn't been injured. So he has time, he has abilities. But it's no wonder that sometimes we see Brahim Diaz play instead of him, Arda Güler play instead of him, because they actually perform. Endrick even comes on and all this stuff. So it's not that big of a surprise. Let's just put it that way, in my opinion. It's not that big of a surprise, if you ask me. So, for me, the biggest question was Rodrigo or Saka. Rodrigo or Saka. Mbappe versus Timber. Timber for me. But Real right wing. Real Madrid's right wing position is a weird one because Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler, and Rodrigo all can play, and it's kind of been left out of all the equations. Mbappe scores, Vini scores, Bellingham does his thing, and that right side it feels a bit neglected. They get the points on the board, don't get me wrong, but whilst others are scoring, it's kind of understandable that it doesn't get too much attention. But if I was a Real Madrid fan and everything, I would demand more. I would genuinely demand more from that right side. The thing is, you see, Marlon, you say Timber has to run a lot. Mbappe is very fast. See, Timber will have to run a lot. And the issue with Timber is and the same thing in Kwame as well, in my opinion, Timber can match Mbappe. The running is the biggest issue. Because the amount of minutes Timber has played this season just coming back from ACL is worrying on its own. Let's just put it that way. And he has had some minor knocks or blips here or there. And it's a big concern. Because Vinicius, Mbappe, it doesn't matter if he's going to play center back or right back. He's going to face one of those. And they're going to twist him inside and out all the time as soon as they get the ball. And one wrong turn, one wrong twist, ankle goes, knee goes, something goes, and that's him out potentially for another extended period of time. That for me is one of the biggest worries in this regard. What could happen and what could not happen with this. So it is what it is. We'll have to take that gamble. Time only will tell. In 2 days' time, we will have our answer. In less than 2 days. Genuinely in less than 2 days, we play against Real Madrid. That is kind of nuts. But moving to that right wing side, it is either this guy or this guy. And I cannot decide. I cannot decide between those two. Genuinely cannot. Because overall, as a player, Rodrigo is better, right? Overall, as a player, in my opinion, Rodrigo is better. I think there is not too many questions about that. He does his thing. He has better skill ability. He's better at forward with shooting. He has scored some very, very important clutch goals in Champions League finals and semi-finals for Real Madrid, even in La Liga and Carabao Cup, Copa del Rey, some important goals. He has done it all. He's more complete player compared to Bukayo Saka. And obviously, given that he's at Real Madrid, he doesn't have to do as much as Bukayo Saka does. However, if we speak about Bukayo Saka, it's really hard when you speak on Bukayo Saka as an Arsenal fan to a certain extent be objective. Let's just put it that way. Because we have seen his uprise since Emery promoted him into the main squad. We can see him as a left back, as a left mid, as a left wing, as a right wing. We have seen him everywhere pretty much. And he has been carrying this team for 5 years now. 5 bloody years. Scoring, assisting, getting us over the line when everyone's thinking of the place. And that even includes himself thinking of the place and providing somehow one brilliant assist just to make us get the points on the board. And that is something with Bukayo Saka that's very unique. He can have a massive stinker, but still somehow he manages to get a chance to pass or to shoot. And more chances than not, that one opportunity results into a goal. So, for me, that right wing is the toughest choice of them all. Toughest choice of them all. Because you cannot discredit what Bukayo Saka has done. However, given the circumstances, how everything has gone and what everything has been done, I think I'm giving the upper hand to Rodrigo. I think I'm gonna give the upper hand to Rodrigo in that regard. So, looking at this, we have Courtois in goal, Carvajal as a right back, Rudiger, Saliba as center backs, Timber as a left back, Modric, Valverde, and Bellingham as midfielders. and Vinicius, Mbappe, Rodrigo as attack. So for me personally, only two players get into the combined 11: Saliba and Timber. And even then, Timber is shoehorned into a left back position because there is a very strong argument to be made for Camavinga as a left back. To some extent, Fran Garcia as a left back. Let's be real, so it's a very rough one because I try to look at it as objectively as I can in this situation and put my Arsenal biasness aside. And it kind of took over me with the Timber one, I would assume. But overall, it's only one player. Yes, I could have squeezed in Gabriel. 100% I could have. Change formation, then it definitely has to be in this same formation, Gabriel over Rudiger. Could make an argument for that. But there's only two center back spots. And Saliba is the one, and for me, Rudiger is the one. Plus, kind of cannot ignore the fact that Real Madrid are interested in Saliba. They're not interested in Gabriel, they're interested specifically in Saliba. So it kind of came all together with this that, as I said, Courtois in goal, back line of Carvajal, Rudiger, Saliba, and Simba, midfield of Modric, Valverde, and Bellingham, an attack obviously of Vini, Mbappe, and Rodrigo. And it was a tough one, especially on that right side. And it was a tough decision, especially as Marlon is saying. I'm not saying that Rodrigo ain't dangerous. He's been a bit off recently, and that is the reason why I had some doubts. Obviously, it's a bit of a recency bias if you look at it that way, but I try to take into account player abilities to perform, their abilities on and off the ball, what they do, and everything, and this is what I came up with. And if you ask me what I could do for the substitutes, right? For the substitutes, 100% on the bench, I would have Bukayo Saka, I would have Gabriel, I would have Camavinga. Who else is there I could put in? Obviously, Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler. And that is the biggest thing. As much as many top gooners, Arteta only fans, Arteta sexuals, and all these guys want to say, we are not scared of Madrid, pray for Madrid. If you look at the squads and if you look at the players, best Arsenal players arguably are bench players for Real Madrid to some extent. Yes, you can make an exception for maybe Saliba, maybe Gabriel, maybe Saka if you push it a bit. But overall, let's be real, most of Arsenal's players are either bench players or they don't even get in Real Madrid's squad. And that is a big issue. Obviously, for us competing against Real Madrid is pretty much impossible. Merit-wise and everything, just don't even dream about it, right? But we can, on the pitch, we can try. But will it have a good outcome? God knows. Genuinely, God knows. And to think about Madrid is they don't care if you score on them. That is the biggest thing. Real Madrid in Champions League are completely different animal. I've seen top gooners on social media already getting giddy that they lost to Valencia 2-1 at home from a corner and everything. So Set Piece FC is going to be in full motion at Emirates 100% and all this stuff. But it's very hard to kind of envision a situation where Arsenal go to Bernabeu with 2-goal lead. Because 1-goal lead, if we go to Bernabeu, means nothing. 1-goal lead might as well be 0-0. 2-goal lead, then you can start to think about certain aspects of the game and certain aspects of the situation. That is the biggest thing. And for Real Madrid as well, they play in Champions League like they have never won it. That is the biggest thing. And in UCL they never won it. Like Arsenal have never won in Champions League. They've never done anything in Champions League. They've got to a final, they've got to semi-final, quarterfinals, but ultimately they have never won it. In that moment, we have a team of players that have never won anything, pretty much. Same goes for a manager who hasn't won anything, pretty much. And Real Madrid are just loaded and stacked with winners. And in Champions League, it feels like in La Liga, to some extent, it's like Rudiger said in one of the interviews, that the season for Real Madrid starts in February. Because Real Madrid are pretty much the way they play, they know how to get through the group stages or league stages. It is now in Champions League, it's going to be easy for them, more often than not. In La Liga, they can kind of bumble their way through till February, right? And they pretty much always are there or thereabouts. Maybe a few points ahead, maybe a few points behind the first place, right? Or at the top, few points ahead. And Rudiger said the season for Real Madrid starts in February, and rightly so. When the Champions League playoffs start, when the crunch time in La Liga starts, that's when everything starts. Let's be real. Even if they are under two, that is the biggest thing. For Arsenal to even have a chance, a thought that they can go through against Real Madrid, especially with the second leg at Bernabeu, for me personally, we need at least a 2-goal lead. So we need to win at Emirates 2-0, 3-1, or 3-0 even, or something like that. The question is, can we do it? Because yes, Real Madrid are shaky at defense, right? There is no argument about that. They tend to concede goals. There's no argument about that. But are we that good that we're going to score the chances? Are we that good that we're going to create enough chances to score those 2-3 goals to take the lead to the Bernabeu? That is the biggest question. We will be ready. Will we not burn ourselves out? Will we not overpsych ourselves preparing for the game? And will the occasion get to the players or not? Because you could say that this game arguably is the biggest game some of these players could play ever in their lives against Real Madrid Champions League quarterfinals. Because let's be real, we sell Kivior, for example, we sell Kivior, right? He plays against Real Madrid these two games. He might never face Real Madrid again in his career, for example. This could be some of the biggest games some players ever play in their lives. And will they not get burnt? Will they not psych themselves out? Because all these things you have to take into equation, not to mention when we go to Bernabeu. Because Bernabeu, that's a completely different place. You know, there's your stadiums, and then there's your stadiums. And Real Madrid is pretty much top there. When you go out into the tunnel with all the trophies, you go into Bernabeu with the fans, with the songs, with the aura. You can genuinely, it's actually insane how it can affect a player, him mentally before the game. And that is also and that has worked many times, because how many times we have seen teams go to Real Madrid against Real Madrid to Bernabeu, create countless chances like RB Leipzig, like Borussia Dortmund, right? And it's against Real Madrid at Bernabeu, or it's a final somewhere. They genuinely go through and they miss. When they go through one-on-one against the random team in their league, they scored that chance 10 times out of 10. It's the team, it's the occasion, it's the Bernabeu aura that gets to them. It's a completely different game there. Completely different game. Serial winners, you know. They play hungry to win it, we need to be hungry. Exactly. The thing is, Real Madrid play these Champions League games like they have never won it. Arsenal have never won it. That is the biggest thing. Arsenal need to play like their lives depends on them. But the issue is, even then it might not be enough. And that is the biggest worry. Even then it might not be enough. Because as good as players we have, Real Madrid have better players, without shadow of a doubt. Big up Kwame. Big up. Have a nice evening. We don't have to just close down Mbappe. I can't forget about Rodrigo. Exactly, that is the thing. With many teams, if you close down, let's just say 2-3 players, the team is done. Even one player, the team is done. Like with Arsenal, you close down Bukayo Saka, we lose half the team instantly, what it feels like. With Real Madrid, it doesn't matter who you close down, how you close down that guy. There's always 2-3 instead. You close down Vini, there's still Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Valverde, there's everyone else. You close 2, there's still 2-3 left. And it's pretty much impossible to man mark everyone out of the game. So sooner or later, you will get tired physically, mentally, and they will get their chances. They just will need to sit patiently and wait until that lapse happens, and then they will hit you when you are at your weakest. And then when you basically recover from that knockdown, it's gonna be way too late. It's gonna be 2-3 nothing already, 2-3-1. Even when you are 1 nothing down, it's gonna be you are 1 nothing up. It's all of a sudden bang, Real Madrid 3-1 down. It genuinely doesn't take much for them to do that. We can't underestimate it. Exactly, we can't. We just cannot do that. Yet again, when you go to social media, you go to other streams, other videos, you see how cocky many Arsenal fans are. How much they underestimate Real Madrid. Oh, they are shit. In La Liga they are awful. They leak goals. We gonna go to Bernabeu and score 5 past them and all this stuff, just like Sociedad did. Sociedad are mid-table. We are the second in the league, in Premier League, and all this stuff. Let's be real. It's not gonna be like that. There's no chance it's gonna be like that. And I will say this again. The only way Arsenal get through against Real Madrid is that if we go to Bernabeu with a 2-3 goal lead. And even then, it might not be enough. Genuinely, even then, it might not be enough. We have seen Real Madrid to come back from 4-1 down, 3-0 down, and all these type of games, so it might even then not be enough. Let's be real. But we should do everything possible to put ourselves in that position that we give ourselves even a fighting chance when we fly to Spain to play them at Bernabeu. That is the biggest thing. As long as we don't basically, they come here, we play against them, they win 2-1 or 3-1 against us, and the second leg is just a formality. Because then it's just a complete different story. It's just done and dusted and nobody cares, let's be real. In that regard, so hey. It is what it is in those terms, of course. That is the biggest thing. At home, we need to do everything to have even a fighting chance at Bernabeu. Because if Real Madrid come here, they beat us, then it's curtains pretty much. Because at Bernabeu, I don't see us doing that good as at home. Anyhow. What else is happening in world football today? Nothing much. Everyone's preparing for Champions League, by the way. It looks that way, at least. It looks that way. Nothing much is happening. Marseille Toulouse 1-1. Roma Juventus is 1-1. Locatelli scored and Shomurodov scored. Villarreal versus Athletic Bilbao is a 0-0 game, by the way. Let's see. For Villarreal, Baena is starting. And Nico Williams is starting for Athletic Bilbao. So I'm gonna end the stream in a few minutes. And I'm gonna go watch the game because I want to see Nico Williams and Baena in action. Hopefully Baena can provide some magic. Because Baena is one of those guys I really would love to see at Real Madrid, at Arsenal. Baena is actually one of those guys I really would love to see at Arsenal. People say, oh, what he has done at Villarreal, dude. It's a completely different story. He's actually more of a number 10 than he's actually a winger, so he actually would work very nicely there. He has a good shot, good cross on him, great passing. He doesn't overhaul the ball and everything, so he definitely would slot very nicely in at Arsenal. So obviously time will tell how that is gonna go, so we will have to wait and see what summer brings. But yeah, I think we have talked about everything today. We talked about starting Real Madrid and everything. We have nice discussions. Big up Kwame, big up Marlon, Mabas, Nathan, everyone who dropped by. Big up Coach. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Take care. New week tomorrow starts. New pain, if you will. But yeah, we will be one more day closer to play Real Madrid at the Emirates. But yeah, for now, I am out. Take care. Have a nice evening and see you very, very soon.